What's something we all just pretend no one does, but in truth we know we all do it? Making up fake scenarios in our head. I have literally cried over scenarios that weren't real. Fart in public. I was at Home Depot a few months back, and I was walking down an aisle and another dude was walking down that same aisle towards me. When he realized I would be walking where he just was, his exact words were, "I'm about to just shit my pants right over there. Maybe give it a minute before you head that way." I've never been so appreciative towards a complete stranger. That's real looking out for your fellow man right there. We've all been out and unknowingly walked through someone else's fart. Or had someone else's fart. Or had someone else walk through ours. After reading aisle's comments, everything from husbands, wives busting ass in a grocery store line, and one leaving the innocent spouse to take the heat, to teachers purposely crop dusting students who are acting a fool, I've realized all are some sick and twisted individuals.
I love it. All are some sick and twisted individual.
I'm pretty sure some of you are evil geniuses. To those of you who have commented how gross we are and that you have never popped one off in public, let me apologize on behalf of all of us filthy McNasty. And lastly, to all of you who have fallen victim to the errant air biscuit and have suffered trauma because of it, I'm pretty sure this is where some of yours origin stories begin. Please remember that there are good people like my Home Depot homie who are doing God's work trying to prevent people from the awful experience of unknowingly walking through and tasting someone else's brand.
Simply put, awesome.
10 years ago, my boyfriend and I had just started dating, and we decided to take a trip together. We were late to get on our flight, so I ended up sitting in front of him, instead of next to him, southwest. As we taking off, I feel my stomach rumble, and realize I'm going to have a bad case of the altitude. I proceed to blow ass almost the entire flight. As soon as we get off the plane, my beef starts complaining about how someone farted the entire flight. He was so mad, and I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was me. Instead, I waited to tell him that secret on our 1-year anniversary. We had a good laugh about it, and now he calls me Toots. This is fantastic. When you go into an aisle in the grocery store and you see someone in front of the object you're looking for, so you pretend you're getting something else, all while hovering near them, waiting for them to leave that area so you can get said object. I told my wife about an experience at Walmart where 3 people were blocking the bulk cheese bags while having a full-blown reunion conversation. It's the cheese section. There was no reaching around the double cart blockade. It's a high-traffic grocery section and deserves some respect. I was too polite to say anything and did a couple of loops until they finished. They were blocking the cheese, plain and simple. This is now a household phrase used when someone's in your way, frequently parroted by my progeny. Stop blocking the cheese. I'm now the butt of an eternal joke. Make snap judgments about people based on their appearance. This could be anything from race, gender, age, clothing, hairstyle, facial appearance, etc. We make these judgments before we have time to think about it. It's almost instant. None of us like to talk about this because some of these judgments are controversial. I've read someone say to not judge yourself on your first thought about a person, but by your second. Your first thought is instinct or society telling you what to think. Your second is who you actually are. I'm sure there's actually a term for this, but the thing you do when you're upset or hurt and then attribute it to something that feels more respectable to be upset about. Like instead of crying because you're mad that someone forgot your birthday spirals into the long history of wrongs that person has made, because it's embarrassing to say that you just wanted to be a special boy for a day. Happy birthday, but procrastination. I was going to say that, but I waited too long. Convincing yourself in your head that everyone around you is doing things perfectly and at full efficiency, and expect the same of the people around them. No, just me. I feel like I'm a moron that is just hiding my uselessness very well. Perfectionism. I know it well. My psychologist said there were 3 kinds of perfectionism. The kind you demand of yourself, the kind you demand of other people, and the kind you demand of other people, and the kind you assume people demand of you. It's the last that is particularly harmful and very, very often not true. I don't know if we all do it, but open a card and pretend not to see cash fall out while reading the card. Gotta hit him with the alright, a card. Let's see what it says. assume you are above average intelligence. I usually assume I'm either the most galaxy-brained human to have ever lived or a complete dumbass. It really depends on the day and on what I'm doing. Assume you are above average intelligence. When I was a younger person, I used to think I was way above average intelligence, but the older I get, the dumber I feel. Now I'm sure I was always a dumb shit. Oh well, guess I'll go have a snack and take a nap. It is not the picking of the nose that separates us, but what comes after my dad, 2050. I, eat it B, put it in a tissue sieve C, stick it to nearest hidden surface D, flick, and let universe decide its fate. How did I know that nose picking would be the first thing on this thread? There's two types of people in this world, nose pickers and liars. Look up words that people use because we don't know the meaning, even though we pretend to when they are talking. Like, I know I'm using the word in the right context, but if someone was to ask me what it means, I could not tell. Making up conversations in my head before something important. Like I will say this and then the response from other person might be this. Sometimes it can go for 10, 15 min before I snap back to reality, especially arguments. I can have both sides of an argument with someone all by myself in my own head. Scratching your crotch. Pinch and twist. Intrusive thoughts that make us question whether we're secretly psychopaths. The dark ones are a healthy sign though. I ruminate on a certain one I had because it scared me, and my therapist said it's because it's so out of character that even the thought hurts you more than you could ever hurt them. Oh wow. Reading this was weirdly life-affirming. No joke here. This made me realize I may not be alone. Everybody has those. Right? When I was in high school and a teacher was talking to me, I had intrusive thoughts of spitting on them. I constantly wondered what was wrong with me. I realized later it was anxiety making up things to mess with me just for funsies. Winning fake arguments in your head. Hey, it's better than losing a fake argument in your head. Picking your nose and finding that root boog that feels like it's attached to the base of the brain. One of the best feelings in the world. And when pulling it out, it feels like you're unraveling your brain. So satisfying. Tell small lies, particularly to make us and others feel better. I know a few people who can't tell a story without the reflex of making it just a bit spicier than it really was. Read messages from the notification bar, then pretending you didn't see the message only much later. I occasionally turn off my Wi-Fi and data, read the message, close the app, and then turn data Wi-Fi back on. It seems to work. I really wish I didn't have to do this. We all live busy lives. Unless it's an emergency, that message can generally wait. It's not a slight against them. I'm leaving it unread because I want to get back to them and don't want to lose the message. But life doesn't stop because they decided to text. I intentionally do this at work if people just send me a message like, "Hey." I once waited for something like 3 or 4 days like this just to see if the guy would follow up. He never did, and I never heard from him again. Recently, I had to insist that my wife knocks loudly and waits before opening my son's bedroom door. I really had to explain why F's. I know he's constantly jacking off, but he would be mortified if anyone knew, especially his parent. Me and my brother shared a room in high school, and so we could only ever do it in the shower or on the toilet. My dad caught on, but my mom never really did, and would get incredibly mad when we would spend 30 minutes going to the bathroom. After countless events of her knocking on the door and yelling, "What's taking you so long? Come on out!" Every 5 minutes, my brother eventually got fed up and yelled back, "Shut up," and yelled back, "Shut up, Mom," and masturbating. She didn't do it anymore after that. I was hanging out late at my brother's house when his sons were 13 and 15, but also shared a bedroom. The kids had all showered, gone to bed, then the bedroom door opens and the 15-year-old heads into the bathroom. My brother says, "I just don't get that boy. Seems like every night he takes a shower, goes to bed, then gets up and takes a 20-minute shit." To this day, I still don't know if he was so willfully ignorant or making a low-key joke. Maybe he had truly forgotten what being a teenage boy was like. My wife likes to burst into our daughter's room. I told her maybe she should stop that, and she said, "Oh my God, did you walk in on her?" And I had to tell her no, but she's 16, so she should have personal space. She doesn't understand. My mum never seemed to take the hint on this one, even after I put a sign on my door requesting the loud knock and wait. Only thing it changed was going from barging in without warning to a single knock, then letting herself in a split second later. So many times I had to very hastily cover myself and awkwardly hold a conversation pretending everything is normal. When my nephew was a teen, he'd take like 3-4 showers a day. I just pretended I had no clue why. I'd judge other people. This should be one of the top replies. We all are constantly in judgment of everything everyone else does, says wears looks like everything. I've learned to talk myself out of it with mantras like not my life, or if they're happy, that's all that matters, but it doesn't stop the thoughts. Fantasize about doing something, someone you shouldn't. Man, I could just jump off this building, couldn't I? No brain. We do not want to die. Yes, we technically could do that though. Driving home in a good mood, looking forward to dinner. My brain, you could just drive over all those people on the sidewalk. Nah, that would ruin dinner plans. Let's just be normal for now. Reading comments texts multiple times after posting them, just to let the fact that you're a modern-day Shakespeare settle in. The amount of time I spend looking at my own posts, messages, and pretend that I'm an outsider looking in is embarrassing. Or reading back over your Reddit comments to revisit the pride you got from a particularly clever one. That, and also to proofread after the fact to make sure that other people think I'm fabulous as well. Deliberately delay responses to text messages and emails, even though it would be convenient to reply. Especially when it would be at a suspiciously late hour. I'm a night owl. At least email has a delay send option. My theory is we create the illusion of not being able to respond immediately so that it doesn't create that expectation. My friend used to actually truly think that you should be able to respond within 20 minutes of getting a text, ignoring the possibility that I'm not even looking at my phone or need to keep focused on something else for the time being. Thinking about embarrassing moments. I will find myself having flashbacks to stupid shit from primary school, like 2 decades ago, and reliving that, like, bro, you're probably the only person who even remembers. Let it go. Complain about others, speeding and saying they are going too fast for no reason but giving ourselves a pass, because what we are late for is really important. Panic clean before guests come over to then apologize for the mess it did. I've come to the realization that this was all just a humble brag attempt by my mom. Until you start having no panic, then you stop cleaning. It follows that you stop apologizing for the mess. And finally, you stop having visit. Or for unexpected guests, hide behind the front door noiselessly, watching out the peephole until they've left. Because I'm an introvert, or a coward, or both. Smell our own body odor. Kids hide their profanity from adults, and adults hide their profanity from kids. Because both sides must maintain the illusion that the other side doesn't know that they know profanity. I still remember vividly the first time I heard my 13-year-old boy loudly exclaim "fuck" through an open window. He was carrying groceries in and dropped a gallon of milk on the pavement. It was proper usage, and I couldn't bring myself to yell at him over actual spilled milk. So here we are. Talking to ourselves. Well, where else am I going to get expert advice? Apparently this is considered very healthy. Psych professor in college, it is alright to talk to yourself, and it is alright to answer yourself, as long as you know that it is you answering. If this comes into question, seek professional help. Take shits. It's something the vast majority of us do at least once a day, and could not be more natural, yet it's so taboo. I know people who almost shit themselves at school, avoiding being known as the person who used the toilet for what toilet are for. Daydreaming about childish shit. No, when you ask what I'm thinking and I say nothing when you saw me zone out, I wasn't literally thinking of nothing. For that minute I was a race car driver or an astronaut. Yes, I've made plans in my head on how I would go about trying to weigh my own head, or how much I'd like to just wail in that crying baby's face to see how it would react. No, I'm not going to say that when you ask me to my face, I'll lie and say nothing of importance, or hit rewind till the last vaguely important plot point to say I was thinking about to save face. Coming up with a perfect comeback in your head long after the other person left. Picking your nose. I remember being in 11th grade in 2008. and going to the bathroom during class just to wash my hands in hot water. I live in northern Minnesota and have poor circulation. I did this a lot. And one of my teachers came out of the stall, washed her hands and said to herself in the mirror, or maybe me, "Oh man, I broke a nail." How am I supposed to pick my nose now? 14 years later, I still think about this. She really made me feel like we all do that shit during a time I was so self-conscious about just being a human. Obviously, don't do it around people, but nothing beats the feeling of breathing in Fork Ultra after removal of a chunk. I don't get how people don't pick their nose. How do you just leave all that stuff in there? Sometimes I pick my nose in front of my wife without thinking about it. She's never said anything about it. That's how you know she loves me. There are two types of people in this world. People that pick their noses and liars. Have a full conversation with your pet. I can't be the only one.